Hi, it's Jacquie here. I'm going to walk you through what the first 6 months of 2019 is going to look like in the My Incredible Orbit community, because it is such important stuff. We are ready to blast off in a very big way. Are you ready? From January through to June in 2019, we're going to be focusing on some really powerful concepts that mean everything to you, because these concepts actually define your experience in life. They define the way that you perceive your reality. You are able to receive everything in your life and the way that you react to that. So the next group of sessions beginning 2019, which is where we are now, beautiful, luscious new year, is so very important and profound for you, and here is why. Today, your understanding of your world around you, your understanding of who you think you are, is all information that, as you have experienced life, has been filtered and gathered via your 5 senses of hearing, sight, smell, taste, and touch. You are literally a massive storybook that is still unfolding. And the wonderful thing about that is that you are the author. And you may not realize this, but a large part of what makes you up is actually ancestral information, meaning what your parents and their parents have experienced in their life actually plays a huge role in how your life is showing up for you and how you are perceiving your reality. Again, your parents and their ancestors all experienced their own lives through their 5 senses, and that profoundly shaped them as human beings. It led them to be the people that they were, to adopt the beliefs that they had, and to have the behaviors and some of their personality traits that they showed. You may not realize this, but ancestral information actually affects you very, very deeply. The information passes on into and then becomes part of the information that stores in your very cells. And it is this information that can both improve or massively corrupt the way that your 5 senses work. Meaning, the information that gets passed on from your ancestors can so heavily distort the way that your 5 senses functions that it affects the way that you're actually able to interpret your life. So not only are your experiences in life deeply affected by the experiences of your ancestors, but the experiences that you're having now, the information as you take it in via your 5 senses, and the information that then logs deeply within your cells actually then passes on to your lineage. As you are experiencing your life, you're taking in millions of bits of information every second or so. And it is from some of that sensory information that you start to acquire these filters that attach to the 5 senses. And these filters are your beliefs about yourself, about other people, about different concepts, the world around you. These beliefs will define your experience in life. So not only do they corrupt your 5 senses' ability to be able to be clear, functioning exceptionally well, for all of your 5 senses to be coordinated beautifully, but it also is going to dramatically affect just your levels of happiness, the things that just flow to your life and flow to yourself effortlessly and easily, doors that open, possibilities that present themselves to you, just great things continuing to happen. So it's never been more important to actually do a massive amount of work on your 5 senses to remove a lot of those filters that you have unknowingly adopted and adapted over your lifetime, as well as then the filters that have been passed on ancestrally that you have, that you don't want, that no longer work for you, and they affect your experience of life. So this is what we're going to be working on for the first 6 months of 2019. It's not just the 5 senses. It is also then going to be looking at, because we can't separate these, intuition, instincts, gut feelings, gut reactions. So we're heavily looking at the etheric brain, the gut brain, okay, and we'll learn all about that. The ability to have insight, foresight, the ability for hindsight. This is all just such, it's like critical ingredients for this recipe, which is you to experience a life which is one of happiness, one of ease, one of peace, one of freedom, one of love, okay? Every thought that you have ever had is a sensory thought, and every memory that you have is actually a sensory memory. All of this information as it comes in is sort of like information that collects on sticky notes, and those sticky notes then attach themselves to all of your 5 senses of hearing, sight, smell, taste and touch. Each sense is then able to do its job and perform its role less and less, because over time those sticky notes then are accumulating, and it impacts then the senses' ability to be able to do their jobs properly. This is something that happens to pretty much everyone, okay? So then what happens is you will end up having lots and lots of sticky notes that attach themselves to the 5 senses. Then they cannot perform as intended. They resort by trying to make sense of whatever it is that they are perceiving, by reverting back to the default listing. And that default listing is actually going to be your very old sensory data that you intook years and years and years ago, which could be completely corrupt, could be completely untrue. But then more often than not, this default listing material actually comes from your ancestors. So what you're then being told that you are experiencing could actually be somebody else's experience. And that means that you are not going to truly be having your own individual authentic experience. It's going to be shaded by somebody else's information. Now that default listing is literally just to fill in the blanks and get information from the memory banks. It leads to misinformation, getting wires crossed, sabotaging behaviours, which everybody is familiar with, and really corrupt thoughts such as, I don't amount to much, or I'm useless, or I can't do this, or what's the point, I'll fail. Meaning that most of the time, the way that you are perceiving life is actually not the way that it is happening. Now, not only is that truly just nuts, but it's not great for you. That's not how you want to have your story told and your experience in life. So the other wonderful aspect about this is by doing this work, we're going to be naturally also working on the subtle aspect of all the 5 senses. And that jumps into and dives into concepts around clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. It's just going to be so yummy, as I've mentioned before, and I'm so very excited about this because I've been waiting to do it for a few years now. We're also going to be placing a very big focus on intuition, on psychic abilities, and opening up your filters on all of these senses so that you can take more of life in and perceive it more clearly and more correctly. And I am so very excited that you are going to be coming on this journey with us. Well, I hope you are anyway. Why not join me? All the details are below. Now's the time. Why wait?